sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Cimnanya. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, smash that subscribe button and turn on your notification so you are notified each time I upload. And please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all, and I am saying massive shout out to every one of you for all the love and support you all give me here. I am truly grateful. Thank you, and you are super sweet. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about a white person who actually dropped a comment saying that black US slavery was not the most horrible in the hemisphere. And I am asking, how do people wake up to say something like this? Like, they are always looking for a way to make themselves feel better that, we were not really the bad people. We did not do, we were not the worst, we didn't do most correct thing in this hemisphere and all that. But then now this man actually took us around and all that. He was like trying to let them understand that, man, you are saying that US slavery was not even the most cruel. It is not the most cruel, but it was cruel, right? And with all the things that happened and all that, you people travel all the way to other continents, took people out there, bring them back to use them as experiment, because that is what I feel. They totally use black people as experiment during the slavery, starting from the Tuskegee and the rest of it. And somebody even got the nerves to come out to say that, he is trying to justify all the horrible things, all the inhumane they did to black people by saying it was not the most cruel. And they always bring up this, each time there is an argument. And each time I am like, man, you all are so dumb. You know what? Stay good to the screen. I'm just going to roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. And straight up, I am rolling the clip.
Hi everybody, History Guy here, and I'm still on the white supremacist side of TikTok, and I've still got a few things to clear up. So, on one level, this comment is correct, right? So slavery in the Caribbean and in Brazil, for example, was worse than slavery in the 13 colonies and eventually the US. All right, the life expectancy for someone enslaved in the Caribbean was 4 to 7 years. It was extremely brutal on those sugar plantations. Again, I have no idea why one thinks this might be a defense of US-based slavery, deflection maybe. But I should also say that slavery in the US or 13 colonies was also extremely brutal. Let's take a walk over to my bookshelf. All right, I did not plan this, maybe I should have, but let's take a look. All right, so let's look on the second shelf here. If you want to learn about medical experimentation in the US done on black bodies, you can read Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. And why was medical experimentation done? Because black bodies were expendable. All right, let's walk over here into this other section of my bookshelf. All right, what do we have? All right, I have Peter Colkin's American Slavery. Very good book. Ooh, right here. Very interesting book if you would like to read about U.S. medical schools, emerging medical schools in the 1800s, hiring body snatchers to exhume the bodies of the enslaved to use as cadavers in northern medical schools. You can read The Price for Their Pound of Flesh by Dana Ramey Berry, or right next to it, John Brown's enslaver was convinced that black people had thicker skin, so he burned him and peeled his skin off to measure it. Moving down. All right, let's look at this one. So we have a book called They Were Her Property by Stephanie Jones Rogers. Excellent book. It was a groundbreaking book. Talked about how by the 1850s, 1860s, 40% of enslavers were white women down south. And she tells a particularly horrific story about a white woman enslaver who enslaved a little black girl, kept her in near starving conditions. And one day when this little girl took a candy off of her enslaver's dresser, she punished her by putting her under the bottom of a rocking chair and rocking over her head, permanently disfiguring her, and she couldn't even eat properly for the rest of her life. There are so many more books. Those are just a few. The point is, it's a fool's errand to try and separate U.S.-based slavery from the rest of transcontinental slavery. It was all brutal. That's it. Have a day. Hi everybody, History Guy here. And yes, I'm still on the white supremacist side of TikTok, and I've still got a few more things to clear up. So, in a sense, the beginning of this comment is correct. Abolitionists in the 1830s, 40s, and 50s in the U.S. were in the minority. But that is not the same as saying the minority of white people up north were fine with slavery. Here's the thing. Everybody knew it was wrong. Every white person knew it was wrong at all times, with the exception of maybe white Southerners once we get into the 1800s. Let me explain. In the late 1700s, you didn't really hear all that many people arguing that slavery was a good thing and that they were that enslaved people were being helped. The argument that enslavers were making in the late 1700s, before, during, after the Revolutionary War, was an economic argument. All right, that's economically necessary, and if you were to end slavery, it would cause the economy to crash, right? And abolitionists did exist. Ben Franklin became one. Alex Hamilton was an abolitionist. But back then, an abolitionist meant that you thought that the national government couldn't do anything about it. The states had to get rid of it, and it would take a long time to get for the states to do so. You were okay with gradual emancipation, and for the most part, you thought that once an enslaved person was manumitted, they then should be sent to Africa. You were a colonizationist. All right. In fact, Thomas Jefferson, a major enslaver, as you may know, wrote somewhat of an anti-slavery passage in the grievances section of the Declaration. Basically, he was complaining to England that they got the colonies hooked on slavery. He knew it was bad. They all knew it was bad. It wasn't until folks like Calhoun and George Fitzhugh and James Henry Hammond that they begin to convince themselves, as race became a fully formed idea in their mind, in their whiteness, once we get to the 1830s and 40s, that's when they began to argue it was a good thing and they were deluding themselves. All right. Now, once we get to the 1830s, to be an abolitionist meant, once we get to, like, let's say, William Lloyd Garrison, Frederick Douglass, the Grimke sisters, to be an abolitionist meant that you believed in immediate emancipation, no compensation, no colonization, full and equal rights. But that does not mean that, even though they were in the minority in the North, it does not mean that white Northerners were okay with slavery. For the most part, they were against it. Now, it's impossible to quantify by saying most were against it or most were fine with it, all right? But generally speaking, we can think of the way white folks that were not abolitionists thought about slavery the same way that modern day we think about the homeless, right? We all know that homelessness is a bad thing. We would like it to go away, but how many of us actually do something about it? That's the predicament, or that's the way we can kind of wrap our brains around white people being against slavery up north, but doing nothing about it. They actually didn't start. White people began to be more actively against slavery up north in the 1850s with the passage of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, which potentially threatened their freedom. Because if they refused to help catch an enslaved person that ran away, then they themselves could be fined and put in jail. So that's when more white people were moved to action to try to end slavery. All right, that's it. Have a day.
Excuse me. So this is all we got for this video. And first of all, I think I'm going to start, like somebody asked, did white people understand slavery as a bad thing? And excuse me. And did they really understand that it was a bad thing and all that? For me, the way I see them, their attitude and all that, as you all can see, Jim Crow and the rest of it, like Jim Crow is still on the ground. Slavery is like still on the ground, or not even like, you know, not on the ground, but in a modern way. All of them all came back in a modern way. So I personally feel like they probably don't think it's a wrong thing, because they feel like it was a great thing that happened. Because like, I remember one of the videos that I talked about, somebody was like, black people should be very glad that slavery happened. Like, you can imagine bringing them out of, like, the dark to a great place, giving them a better opportunity, and like, they get them silver spoon, and they should stop complaining and make use of that silver spoon that was given to them. And I am asking, which silver spoon? I mean, some people really got guts and nerves. Like, you can imagine people trying to like defend rubbish. Like, you went to other continents, took people away, do so many horrible things to them and bring them here, and then somebody is saying that they were given great opportunity. And I see how great the opportunity they gave them is, because they always look for a way to give them something and look for a way to strip that same benefit off from them. And somebody is out there talking, and they were like saying that I mean, like, you all should be very thankful and the rest of it. And like, from where I am seeing, the truth is that it's if these people have a chance, they are gonna bring back slavery back, like, fully back into the system, because it's all obvious and all that. You all keep hearing all these things circulating, like secret audio, circulating and all that, how they want black people to pay in, how they want them back in the plantation, and how they want to like, unalive black people, and how they want to lean and shame black people. Like, they are kind of saying that they wish that, like, it was back in the day during the Jim Crow era, when Jim Crow era, when they can lean and shame black people, that, like, it would have been a great thing. Like, some of them, they were like even saying that they have, like, they got their armors and everything ready in case if there is something like that, they're just gonna put it into action straight up and all that. Cute those, like, using the N word and all that. So, man, all this, like, all this, they always look for a way to tell you that Black American or American history, U.S. slavery was not even the most cruel or something. It's just something they are looking for a way to make themselves feel better and all that. And I don't know how they always, like, bring this kind of something just to, like, appease themselves and tell themselves, like, we're not that bad and we're not that horrible people. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye for now.